In today's episode, we're going to be reacting to some of the strangest clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
The following video is groundbreaking, and it is from an anonymous source who leaked the video. The information I was able to gather is that this is a military helicopter, and it's chasing what appears to be a massive Bigfoot. And this Bigfoot knows it's being chased. You can see it turn its head to look towards the chopper. But if this video is true, this is some of the best leaked footage we have ever come across. Now take a look at the characteristics of the Bigfoot, those arms, the stride, the head, the whole body shape. But now we have to ask, why is our military chasing them? And have they known this whole time that they do exist? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Pretty interesting. I mean, it definitely looks like a large creature for sure. Definitely gorilla-like, maybe. Probably some of the best Bigfoot footage that I've seen. Also taking into consideration that this is infrared footage, meaning that it's probably dark out, and not only can this thing see whatever's following him, it's going through the woods pretty fast. I'm not saying that this is real. Everyone knows that if I see something, I have a heavy dose of skepticism that I put on top of it. But what I am saying is this is probably one of the best Bigfoot sighting videos that I've seen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Do you want to try astral projection? Because I was able to do it my very first time testing out the new Septisync meditation tapes, which is basically a newer version of the Gateway experience. However, there was a very weird delay. The tapes were designed by this dude right here. He has a link to his website where you can try them for yourself. And this video is in no way sponsored. I just had a lot of people reaching out, asking me to give it a try. And honestly, the results leave me very confused, but also excited. I have only tried the first tape in the series one single time, but had an experience that I am finding very difficult to put into words. Now, the basic premise of this meditation is rather than just having one single binaural beat that you listen to, it layers many different binaural beats. And the first thing that I noticed about the sound that this creates is it was very comforting and almost nostalgic. And the person who narrates these tapes, I found her voice very soothing. The meditation lasted about 30 minutes, and if you have used the Gateway tapes before, you will find the structure of this meditation very familiar. Very quickly, I fell into a deep meditation where my mind was awake and my body was asleep, and I actually started noticing that I could move my arms around of my astral body independent of my physical body, which for me is usually one of the first signs that I'm about to have an out-of-body experience. However, that didn't happen until much later. 5 hours pass and I am trying to go to bed, and as soon as I close my eyes, I start to hear the sound from that meditation again. And as I am listening to this tone play in my head, I am filled with this energy that is charging up in every single fiber of my being. And as it is reaching this climax where it feels unbearable, I am instantly taken out of my body, but not to some astral realm or some lucid dream space. It takes me to a place outside of identifiable reality. It transcends human language. I can't even describe what happened to me. It was both a nanosecond and an eternity. It happened outside of space and time. The best way I can describe it is it happened outside of the simulation. It's like trying to describe a color that you've never seen before. And it was on par with some of the most profound fungal experiences that I've ever been through in my entire life. Apparently, I am not alone in this because I reached out to Ethan and he told me that other people have reported delayed effects listening to the Septisync tapes. And I am definitely excited to keep experimenting with them. So if you have any questions, ask away. And if you want me to keep documenting what I find using these tapes, let me know.
Now, me personally, I don't know if I would trust basically going under a certain type of hypnosis. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know this person, Ethan Frice. If you want to check them out to listen to these binaural beats, hey, go for it. So if anyone out there listens to those tapes and they have some kind of experience, let me know in the comments, please, because that's pretty interesting and kind of scary.
Right, people. Professor Richard Hoover, a lead astrobiologist at NASA, discovered this diatom microfossil in the Orwell meteorite, okay? Here's another version of the diatom fossil from the same meteorite, and diatoms, for those of you who don't know, are single-cell algae. And here's a load of diatoms that exist in the ocean and other bodies of water across the planet, and they can photosynthesize, which means they can convert and dissolve carbon dioxide in the water into oxygen that is essential for the survival of fish and other aquatic organisms, right? So this bad boy was found on the meteorite itself, okay? And the meteorite that these molecules were found on are scientifically important carbonaceous chondrite meteorites that fell in the southwest of France in 1864. Okay? Dr. John Brandenburg's analysis indicates that this meteorite originated from Mars, which is absolutely incredible, because if it did, what does that say? I'm going to leave a bunch of research papers down below that are coming from top astrobiologists from NASA and Dr. John Brandenburg's research into it as well, so you guys can look at all the data. And if it is 100% certified that this meteorite came from Mars, okay, then basically there was life on there at one point, you know, even if it's down to the most basic level, right, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible, man. So, I mean, there's a lot of talks over many years that there might have been more to this planet than what we originally thought, and obviously there's things that suggest that in certain ways, whether that would be, you know, water or ice particles existing on there, and things like water's kind of carved out the terrain and things of that nature. So, I don't know, man. But check out all the research down below. It is hella interesting and unbelievable.
Let me show you what I just found in the mountains.
Those look like boring holes. It's pretty cool though. Now, I personally think that this is an AI generated video, though nothing in this video is tagged that it's AI generated, which doesn't really mean anything. The problem is I've seen a lot of these videos online everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. These specific type of videos right now are just everywhere. And again, none of them are labeled as AI generated, which is abnormal because most of these types of videos that are AI generated are labeled that. With that being said, this could be a couple of things. One, the uploaders are uploading this video or these types of videos and they aren't publishing it as AI generated, which is a big no-no if you do that, because that can get your channel banned. And that sounds very southern, I'm sorry. Or this could be CGI. Someone could have developed this video in Unreal Engine. It's gotten that good. And eventually, because the graphics are so good, that it's going to become more difficult to determine what's AI generated to what's user generated, and they just make it look like AI and realistic. That's gonna cause a problem in the future. It's already bad enough with just AI generated videos, but if we have people out there making CGI videos looking like AI generated videos, that's just a whole nother level. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and or subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel.
There's a handbook released in 1953, the year of Frank's death, called The CIA Study of Assassination. It's fascinating and I'll link it below. It describes that the best way to assassinate a target is to drop them from at least 75 feet onto a hard surface. The manual says when successfully executed, it causes little excitement and is only casually investigated. In fact, the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence organization, used Frank Olson's death as an example of a perfect murder due to the skill with which it was executed. Now, while there is still no official admission of guilt from the CIA, I think it's pretty obvious what happened. Frank Olson was one of only a few scientists who could confirm that the United States used chemical weapons in the Korean War. This is something that's still only alleged, but there's a lot of evidence it happened. Korean and Chinese soldiers were suddenly coming down with cases of cholera, meningitis, and even plague. It's possible Frank Olson was directly involved in deploying these illegal weapons.
I want to show y'all lots of these pictures of these two suns. However, this first one's a little bit different. You see the reflection? This is that reflection enlarged. Now you tell me what that looks like. While you're thinking on that, man, check this out right here. Look, look. Is that a lens flare? What is that? Hold on. We've got several more to look at and talk about, okay? Check out this right here, man. That looks, if you look at that one, you look at this one, that one's even got a little bulb coming out the top, man. So it's almost like that's his own object and that's his own, or am I wrong? Before y'all start screaming, CGI, fake, this is a picture from NASA right here, okay? This is like a verified real picture. Anyways, I've always been fascinated by sky phenomena, you know what I mean? Especially things to do with the sun. This right here was a screenshot I took off of a video, and no, the person, they weren't behind double pane glass. They were outside in a field recording it. How do you know that? How do I know that? I knew the person. There's a lot of things that I'd never seen before, like these shadows right here, man. Anyways, dude, what do y'all think about all that?
It looks like it's the season of two suns again, because it seems like around this time of the year, people start saying that there's two suns in the sky. Now, I have personally never tested this theory, but I would also like to know if someone was to put sunglasses over the camera lens, would that fix this problem? That would be cool to see. I'm gonna guess that that's a kite of some sort. It looks like it's got strings attached to these two little boxes. That's my only guess.
So check out this beautiful discharge that I get from this system using two 12 volt to 100 kilovolt step-up transformers. It's using a frequency of 83 kilohertz. And I just want to say that creating a standing wave within the pyramid-shaped system is also a method of creating what is known as chamber resonance, which I will go into further detail in my upcoming videos. But as of right now, check this out. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the lights real quick. Turn this on. Check this out. This is 8 watts. We'll turn down the current a little bit. Check that discharge out. Is that not a beautiful looking discharge? As you can see, I just got to get the pyramid a little bit more aligned. If I turn up the current.
Dang, that's cool.
Nine watts. Now, if I add more nails to the system, then I will be able to discharge a larger surface area of corona discharge using the same power input going into the step-up transformers.
The energy of the crystal moves towards the point, if it has a point. If it doesn't have a point, then the energy moves every which way. But if you have a point, the energy will move from the bottom through the point upwards, as in a pyramid. It moves from the base up to the point. So when you wrap it with wire, you're just adding to the natural effect of conducting the energy, because we're talking energy that you can't see or taste or touch or see. That energy is everywhere. We're getting into the quantum field now. That's the etheric energy. It's moving up through the point. So when you use a wire, you're just adding to this natural effect. If you didn't wrap the crystal with wire, it would still work.
I see videos all over the place of these specific lights that are kind of swirling in the sky. Now to me, those are probably stage lights or concert lights, but a lot of people say that they're not. So let me know if you know what they are in the comments, please, because I personally still think that they're stage lights. Let's see.
What the fuck is
is that, bro? Look at them flying around on my camera, babe. Look at them flying by. Look. Holy shit. Hey, that's not anything. It's not a spotlight. They're bending and turning. Look. Oh my god. They're going in a perfect circular pattern. Look. They're going right now. Holy shit, dude.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
This could be the most compelling video of a real-life witch captured in Australia. The following video was submitted by one of my followers out of Queensland, Australia. I don't have a lot of information as far as what's going on here, but what was captured is one of the creepiest things you will see this week. Many people believe this is an actual witch caught on camera, the way it manifests, the way it moves. Others believe this is 100% demonic. It's a demonic entity, and by the way it moves and the way it looks, I believe they're right. This footage only lasts about 20 seconds. Watch it. Let me know in the comments what you think it is. Is this a hoax? Is it legit? This person swears this is the real deal. If you have any evidence you'd like to share, my email's listed in my bio. Watch this.
Is this supposed to be that black shadow thing? That's the end of the video. I don't know about all that. I think that might be someone behind that hedge over there dangling a sheet across it. Let me know what you guys think that was. Okay, sending a camera to space to prove Earth is round. I mean, it looks like they're using a fisheye lens. Not that I'm backing up flat earth theory or anything, but the lens looks curved. That's still cool. If that's real, that's actually really cool. I probably have the song removed that's playing, but the song's awesome. Oh, look at there, the balloon popped. Yeah, you see how space is round? Like, that's a curved lens. That doesn't count. Like that, it's hard to determine the Earth being round when the lens is curved, you know? That's still a really cool shot, though. That's neat. That's a pretty cool video. This comes from the Astronomy Center. It really makes it hard to determine whether the Earth is actually round or not because, one, it was just near space, and two, the lens is a fisheye lens, so everything's curved in that lens. And I get why they do it. It's to try to fit everything in it, but it doesn't help the cause, you know?
Y'all, it's happening again. So if you don't know, I've been studying this phenomenon that we've been seeing, by the way, only in the United States, accompanied by really bad storms. It's about to get a lot weirder in 1 second. Like I've showed you in other videos, the same exact thing has popped up in multiple different states, always with the bad storm. Always the same exact colors, and no, it's not a transformer. Most of the time, these things are recorded in open fields when nothing else is around. Alright, remember how I said it's about to get weirder in 1 second? Check this out. Meanwhile, all this stuff is going on, the electronics in multiple cities have been going crazy and glitching. There's one video of so many, again, only in the United States. So what exactly is happening in the United States that brings a whole bunch of glitching in the sky, colors, and glitching with electronics? And not only is it electronics glitching and the sky glitching, some of the biggest and some of the heaviest hail we have ever seen in the United States have been falling every single day, just piling up so deep. This isn't even the same video I showed you yesterday. So I guess my question is, what's happening in only America where only this stuff is happening?
Hey friends, why was ancient architecture so much more magical and mysterious than current day architecture? Like going back to the ancient Assyrian and Egyptian and Hindu architecture that was just beautiful, amazing, built on a scale that we couldn't imagine now. 20-foot tall steps, 100-foot tall doors. You know, they had these columns that had embedded frequencies and harmonies in them. You had sacred geometry all throughout. They did things back then that we can't do now. This was thousands of years ago. Now we just make everything all cookie cutter and boring. What was going on back then versus now? Well, let's get into it, and this is going to blow your mind a little bit, but that's why you come to my channel, right? Okay, so let's just imagine that we have these like segments of humanity, like these 13,000 year or so epochs, and they're bookended on each end with these cyclical cataclysms that wipe the slate clean and kind of restart a new, fresh human experiment. Okay, so let's go back. Let's say 13,000 years ago, there was a great flood. We call it the Great Deluge, and it wiped out about 99.9% of people. Well, the civilization, the human civilization that was most prominent right then when that happened, we'll call them the Atlanteans, okay? Let's say they had 13,000 years of undisturbed development. Imagine how advanced human beings would be with 13,000 years of continuous development, okay? We would look at them as like angels or aliens, right? Which we do. Okay, think about us a couple hundred years ago. We didn't have cars and airplanes and electricity, and now we have like robots on Mars, okay? See how fast we go when we hit a tipping point. Okay, so imagine this civilization back then had 13,000 years, continuous development. They were so advanced, and they knew a cataclysm was coming, at least some of them. And they decided to take refuge inside the earth, okay? Cataclysm comes, wipes everybody out. After a certain amount of time, they come back up to the surface, and they find the surviving humans, and they say, okay, we're gonna help you guys out. We're gonna, give you, teach you agriculture and government and finance, that kind of stuff, get you back on your feet. They do that, and they work side by side with them. This is the story of the Anunnaki. This is the story of the pharaohs from ancient Egypt. This is the story of even the Greek gods, okay? They were with us side by side, working with the humans, getting back on their feet. They were building many of these temples, many of these structures, the pyramids, all this kind of stuff was not built by us, it was built by the gods. Well, who were the gods? The gods were the Atlanteans, the surviving breakaway civilization, the survivors of the previous cyclical cataclysm that came back up to the surface and helped out the next generation of humans to get back on their feet. And then at a certain point, when we're all self-sufficient, up and running, they can go back to whatever they're doing. They don't have to have that like direct relationship and partnership with us anymore because we're on our own now. So they would retreat a little bit, and you would see a significant change in things like art and things like architecture, that kind of stuff, because it's no longer being built by the gods, it's being built by us. But we are like a lot like shorter into our developmental period. We're not 13,000 years of continuous development. At this point, maybe we're only 6 or 7,000. So we're pretty good. We're self-sufficient, we're smart, we're sentient, we're conscious, we're aware, we're building big things, we're doing big things, we're awesome, but we're not 13,000 years in, right? We're not that awesome, we're just kind of awesome, but we're good enough, we're far enough along to where the gods don't have to hold our hand anymore, they can go on and do their thing. That's where we're at now. That's why you see the shift in architecture and you see the shift in everything, is because we're finally out on our own. We're like the teenagers that just moved out. We're 18, 19 years old, we moved out and we're on our own. We're clumsy, we're making a bunch of mistakes, but we're learning, we're going, we're headed the right direction. But you have what we'd call the gods, the old gods, that are still out there. They're still helping. We still know that, we call them the Nordics now. These Nordics are the same as the Anunnaki or the Greek gods or, the Atlanteans. They're just the remnants of this breakaway civilization. But now, instead of them being 13,000 years of continuous development, well, that was 7,000 or so years ago, right? So now maybe they're 20,000 years, of continuous development. And that's why we look at them as angels or aliens or whatever, because humans with that much continuous development would be unrecognizable. We would not be able to, like, their technology, you could say, would be indecipherable from magic, okay? It would seem like alien technology to us. So there would be such a chasm, such a gap between us and them, spiritually, consciously, you know, technologically, intelligent wise, that it'd be hard for us to even have a conversation. Which is why they're buzzing around, they're here, they're helping, they're guiding, but they can't just like come down, land, and say, "What's up, y'all?" Right? Like we're like cavemen to them. Okay, but that's why, just to go back to my original point, that's why the architecture and that kind of stuff, thousands and thousands of years ago, was the way it was because they had come back up and they were helping us get back on our feet. It's the Sumerian tale of the Anunnaki, and they were working side by side with us. It was the gods, the old gods were here on earth with us. And then at a certain point, they didn't have to do it anymore. They went away, and we're on our own now, and that's why things look the way they look now. That's my point of view. Let me know what you think. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Overall, it's a really interesting theory. I personally like the theory that the Anunnaki or other forms of gods were just highly advanced people that's just been here for a very long time. Maybe they've always lived within the earth, so catastrophic events never really harmed them, but they had their ways to get out of the earth so that they could harvest different resources, and when you do that, you're gonna run across people that are from this place. Now, me personally, if this theory is to be true, I do not think that they were so advanced that they could just replicate their own food and do Star Trek type stuff. At best, they may have had what we consider today as modern day technology. Planes, maybe even cars. And after every super catastrophic event that's happened, they would resurface and they would tell these people, yeah, you know, I'm a god. And they would show them all of this amazing stuff, and people believe that they were gods. And it's like a rinse and repeat type of thing. World ends, they come back out from the earth once it's habitable, and they communicate with people in a way that they'll understand and deem them as a more higher powered individual. And that doesn't necessarily mean that these inner earth people are immortal. They probably have just the same amount of lifespan as we do. It's just generation after generation of being raised within earth. It's a really crazy theory, and I could spiral on about it for a while. Do I necessarily believe it? Not really, but it's a really fun theory to think about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. And with that being said, have a good day.